Shortly after President Kwibuka delivered a speech in Butare on 19th April 1994, calling on the public to participate in the killings, Interahamwe militia and soldiers proceed with mass murder of Tutsis in Butare town. Today's Kwibuka podcast episode gives some insight on how significant major roadblocks were in the death of Tutsis during the genocide. April 19th, 1994. Massacres perpetrated against the Tutsi in the former Butare, Gitarama, Gikongoro, and Cyangugu prefectures. On April 19th, 1994, the criminal government removed Prefect Jean-Baptiste, who had tried to prevent the killings in Butare, although he was also being hunted down because he was a Tutsi, and replaced with Sylvain Nsabimana, who was a member of the Social Democratic Party, PSD. He became the prefect of Butare and led the massacres between April 19th to June 17th, 1994. He was arrested in Kenya on July 18th, 1997 by the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda, ICTR, which convicted him of genocide crimes and was sentenced to 18 years imprisonment. Prefect Sylvain Nsabimana worked with Pauline Nyiramasuhuko, Shalom Arsène Haobari, André Rwamakuba, Alphonse Neziryayo, Joseph Kanyabashi, Ladislas Ntaganzwa, and Eli Ndayambaje. They were also together with soldiers including Major Tarsis Muvunyi, who was working with a called the sous-officier ISO to eliminate Tutsis of Butare prefecture. On April 19th, 1994, the president of the interim government, Theodore Kwibuka, called on the people of Butare to exterminate the Tutsi. In his speech, he called on the public to participate in the killings and reminded them not to act as if it was not their business. Later, soldiers joined by the Hutu Interahamwe militia killed many Tutsi civilians who were living in Butare and those who had sought refuge there from other parts of the country. Among those who attended the inauguration ceremony of the new prefect were members of the interim government who shared the same Tutsi extermination ideology, such as Mugenzi Justin, Prosper Mugiraneza, and Pauline Nyiramasuhuko. Shortly after the speech of Kwibuka, massacres of Tutsis began in Butare town. The same day, government soldiers threw bombs at Amahoro Stadium where 19 people, supposedly under the protection of the United Nations Assistance Mission for Rwanda, UNAMIR, were killed. Ngoma sector, currently located in Nyaruguru district, during the genocide against the Tutsi, was in Kijembe commune, Butare prefecture, and was led by Burugumestre Semanyenzi. Ngoma sector had two places where several Tutsis were slaughtered during the genocide. Many Tutsis were killed at Nhomero in Ngoma sector, Nyaruguru district, on Huye Kanyaru road. During the genocide, Tutsi refugees who wanted to cross to Burundi passed by Nhomero. On April 16, 1994, Tutsis who had survived the massacres in Mubuga, Gikongoro, Cyahinda, Rwamiko communes, and the people of Nhomero who wanted to flee to Burundi through Akanyaru border were prohibited from crossing the border and stayed into the Akanyaru valley. The next day, on April 17, 1994, they were evacuated and brought to the courtyard in Nhomero. The prefect of Butare, Jean-Baptiste, arrived at the site and promised the refugees that he would find a way to put them in a camp for security reasons. However, he also was immediately removed and slaughtered in the following days. On April 18th and 19th, 1994, more than 3,360 Tutsis gathered at Nhomero ground were killed with the involvement of the Burugumestre of Kijembe commune, Semanyenzi Straton, Ngoma sector councillor called Munyengango Leonard, Fuji sector councillor called Beninha, the councillor of Kivu named Philemon, a teacher called Mujamashuro Godefroy, a businessman called Kaitana John, and other Interahamwe militia. Few Tutsis who had survived Nhomero massacres were killed in the valley of Akanyaru while trying to cross the border to Burundi on April 19, 1994. Kijembe is in the Gacurabwenge sector of Kamonyi district, formerly in Musambira commune. This was a well-known residence of the Abatsobe and Abasinga tribes. Tutsis who lived in Kijembe were killed on April 1994 by attacks led by the former councillor Ndahayo. On the first day, many Tutsis were killed, and the rest fled to the surrounding bushes. Ndahayo, the councillor, later said that peace had been restored and called upon all those who were hiding to come out. They came out and gathered at a home of an old man called Gataravirwa. Many of them were informed that others had fled to the old man's home, and they chose to join them, increasing their numbers to more than 100. Around 1 p.m., Councillor Ndahayo brought a group to attack the old man's home. the group included government soldiers. The killers had divided themselves into many groups. Another group had gone to kill those who were gathered at Kabira's home, a Tutsi. They took them to Gatarabirwa's son, called Vincent, and ordered them to dig pits for themselves, which they refused. The Interahamwe started digging the pits from 2 p.m. and around 5 p.m. the killing started. They started with boys, stripped the parents of their clothes, and then tied the children up like firewood. Thereafter, the killers started carrying them like luggage and throwing them into the pits alive. After killing the children, they continued with adults, and they tried to cover the pits, even though the corpses were many and could not fit in. The most notorious of these killers were Abdurrahman of Musambira, Councillor Ndahayo, Philippe, and Janvier. After the genocide, the Tutsis who had perished in Kijembe were accorded a decent burial, and later their remains were transferred to Chibuza Memorial. Rutare Rwabarenga is a wide rock close to the river of Nyabarongo. Where the river intersects with the rock, the water depth is so high that one can drown in easily. The rock is in Fukwe village. Many people from Karangara and Musenyi were taken to the area. On April 19, 1994, the massacre started in Rwezamenyo on the riverbanks of Nyabarongo. Kamonyi, today known as Nyabitare, Marembo Cell, where many Tutsis from Kirwa of Kayenzi area were killed. These areas located in Ngamba sector, Kamonyi district on the banks of Nyabarongo River, were formerly located in Taba commune, which was led by Akayesu Jean-Paul, who was convicted by the ICTR for genocide crimes and sentenced to life imprisonment. Several Tutsis from Ngamba sector were thrown into Nyabarongo River. Not only these, but also those from Kayenzi commune and surrounding areas were also dumped in Nyabarongo. The massacre started on April 19, 1994, until RPF Inkotanyi liberated the area by the end of June 1994. Those who were thrown in Nyabarongo River were tied. The number of people who drowned in Nyabarongo River in Ngamba is high because all Tutsis fleeing from Rukoma, Kayenzi, and Ngamba were taken to the place. The main perpetrators of the Ngamba massacres on the banks of River Nyabarongo are Mutijima, a secretary at the commune, Rurangirwa, a policeman, Twagirayezu Vincent alias Kagozi, Mbarubukeye, a teacher, Munyukane Stani, Rumumba Samuel, Munyaburanga, a teacher, Munyankumburwa and Hategeka, teachers in Marembo, Nsengiyaremye, a counselor, Ndahayo, also known as pilot, Kaibanda, Harizaboneka, and others. The place was called Chibihanga and is in Muyanji Cell, Kayumba sector. About 100 Tutsis were killed there, including members of our Singa tribe who lived nearby, as well as others who had come from neighboring areas. On April 19th, Tutsis who were hiding in the forest were attacked by Interahamwe militia from Rutobwe and others from Nyabikenye. These people were cruelly killed with machetes and clubs. After killing them, they threw them into a pit and others were buried in trenches in the forest. After the genocide, bodies dumped in the forest were exhumed and accorded a decent burial at Chibuza Memorial in Gachurabwenge sector, Kamonyi district. The Kamonyi center is in Kamonyi village, Nyingo Cell, Gachurabwenge sector, but was formerly located in Taba commune. Several Tutsis were killed alongside the road from the main Kigali-Butare road to Kamonyi parish and Nhuro center. The center is also linked with Nyamugari Hill, which harbored refugees from Kivuye, where other Tutsis also perished. The massacres took place from April 19, 1994, until the end of the genocide. There were two roadblocks, one on the main road and the other behind Kamonyi parish. One day, Tutsis from Kamonyi and others from Kijembe were gathered and killed opposite the parish near the statue of Virgin Mary. Many Tutsis from the area were being arrested and killed at the roadblock and then dumped into the pits dug in the nearby Kamonyi forest. A roadblock manned by the killers was in Buringa at Kawadaha Center, today in Kawadaha Village, Munazi Cell, Mushishiro Sector, Muhanga District. Before the genocide, the center was in Buringa Commune. When the genocide started here on April 9, 1994, many Tutsis from Chibirira and Buringa communes took refuge in Kawadaha village, in which the headquarters of the commune was built. The burgomaster of the Buringa commune accompanied all the Tutsis who had taken refuge in the commune to Kabgayi. After that, the former deputy burgomaster Nhabaswa Jean conducted subsequent massacres in the area. From April 10, 1994, a large military roadblock was established at the center, precisely at the Karamira Ford World's mini hotel, where he was born and where he had represented MDR power. Karamira is the one who supplied weapons used in the massacres of Tutsis in the area. The roadblock was intended to stop and kill Tutsis from the surrounding areas, including refugees from Kabgayi, those from Kigali and elsewhere. Between 180 and 200 Tutsis were killed at the roadblock and dumped in a pit at Karamira's mini hotel. The pit was mainly intended to dispose of animals and food remains from the hotel. Those who exhumed bodies found bodies mixed with chicken bones and much more. Apart from those killed there were many other roadblocks in many places across Buringa commune. There were roadblocks at Buringa commune, Munazi, in Nyagasozi sector, and in Nyagako, where Tutsis were killed by refugees who had fled to Buringa. Additionally, roadblocks were mounted at Gwigerero, near the cell office, and another one near the market, at Mushishiro parish. It was set up by a Burundian priest named Jeremy Nduwabiche. Other roadblocks were established at a place called Munama, at Rukaragata, at Nyabarongo, at Karombozi, at Rwasare, at Martyazo, and many others. All the roadblocks served as killing places for Tutsis, while others were thrown into Nyabarongo River, which flows in the nearby valley. Some of the most prominent genocidaires in that area include Nabashwa Jean, Deputy Bourgmestre, Karamira Fodouar, Mnyankumburwa Faustin, Kamonyo Fidel, Mutimura Claver, Father Nduwabiche Jeremy, a Burundian, MP Major Ukurikiyeyezu Jean Damascene, Nyaminani Felicien, who had been the Bourgmestre of Buringa, Sebazung Cyril, Chief of Electrogaz in Kigali. Since April 13, 1994, the massacres of Tutsis had started in Gitwa, Kirgwasel, in Kayenzi sector. Tutsis had taken refuge in the home of a Tutsi man who was director of Gitwa school called Ugirashebuja Felicien. They had been resisting attacks from Musasa in Gakenke from April 13th, but the situation worsened as Interahamwe in Kayenzi also launched attacks on them. A heavy attack took place on April 19, 1994, and the Tutsis successfully repelled it. But another major attack was planned after a meeting held at Gitwa Primary School ground, led by Nkundiramye Alphonse and Mnyakazi Leopold. When the attacks came, the Tutsi refugees saw it and sought refuge in Beite forest, while others went to a home of a Tutsi called Kajugiro. The attackers found all those who were hiding in Beite forest and killed all of them. The main perpetrators of the massacres in Kayenzi commune include the Burgumestre Mbarubukeye Jean, and the perpetrators of the massacres in Kirgwa include Mhabarezi Rwagakwandi, Hitimana Jean Damascene, Ngendo, Rutichumugambi Aloys, Nzabanita Cyril, Nkundiramye Alphonse, Uwayezu Leonidas, and others. On April 7, 1994, there was a massacre of 10 people at Mushubi Catholic Parish, Moko Commune, Gikongoro Prefecture. On April 8, 1994, many Tutsis immediately fled to Moko Commune headquarters, but some of them also fled to Kaduha Parish because they had learned that the Burgumestre Kaihura Albert was involved in the killings of those in Mushubi Parish, and they felt they would not be safe at the commune headquarters. Residents who could not go to Kaduha continued to flee from the sectors of Moko and Musebya commune as its headquarters were built on area bordering two communes. Local leaders had promised refugees that they would be protected at the headquarters, and those who were hiding in the bushes came out. But this was a plot to collect them so that they could be killed easily and in one place. On April 19, 1994, an attack led by a notorious killer nicknamed Rukokoma was singing the following words. "What do you want?" They replied, "The cockroaches." "Where are they?" They replied, "At Moko Commune." "Why are you looking for them?" "To slaughter them," the killers replied. The attack did not kill anyone at the commune because the security guards refused to give them up for reasons that were not known by refugees. The Burgumestre Kaihura Albert, Musonera, the director of the primary school, Rukokoma and others immediately held a meeting and decided that they would kill the men first and then kill women and children later. The attackers went back to change the killing plan, and refugees thought they had escaped, but attackers had gone to a place called Gishkwati to reorganize. Men and boys were asked to board 3 vehicles and told that they were being taken to Kaduha Parish because Mushubi was no longer secure. At about 3 miles away, at a place called Gishkwati, they met a group of killers that had been waiting for them and were killed with traditional weapons, leaving only one survivor who was able to jump out of the car and ran away. Others could not because the killers had already surrounded the vehicles. Women and children who had remained at the commune died an excruciating death. The women were raped and later killed on the April 19, 1994. The attack was led by Munyarihamye Pascal, who oversaw Mushubi cell. Over 500 women and children were taken to Mushubi Health Center, where they were all killed. Among those at the forefront of inciting massacres of Tutsis in the area was the sous-préfet of Munini sous-préfecture, Biniga Damien, who was born in Muko Commune, Burgomestre of Muko Commune, Kayura Albert, Musonera Etienne, the principal of Rugano Primary School, who was sentenced by the Gacaca court to 15 years in prison, councillor and cell leaders including Hachizimana, councillor of Sovu, and others. Some renowned killers in the area include Seka Nyambo, Muberandinda, Mbaraga, Habimana, Kanyamanza, Rukokoma, Munyabihame, Muberandinda, Munyembaraga, Ruhigisha, Sebera Alois, and others. Mushubi Genocide Memorial is now home to more than 14,152 remains of the victims of the genocide against the Tutsi. The massacres in Nyakinyinya had started on April 13, 1994. Many Interahamwe militia came from Mururu and started to brutally kill Tutsis with grenades, guns, and traditional weapons. On April 19, 1994, Interahamwe returned to exterminate the wounded and others who had not been able to escape, thinking that the killing was over. Similarly, on April 19, 1994, Tutsis were massacred in Nyamukumba in Ruhango. All the way to Ruhango, Tutsis were being killed in the valleys surrounding the road. Interahamwe militia were all over the road, which was also filled with dangerous roadblocks. Thank you for listening to another episode of Kwibuka Podcast. As always, make sure you leave us a review, sharing what you like about the podcast, and share with others who would be interested in listening.